Right now, there are people getting a call from their lawyer telling them that the condo that they agreed to buy 3 years ago isn't worth what they promised to pay for, and they're still going to have to close on that unit. That's not hypothetical. That's what's actually happening right now, every day, every week, and it's about to happen a lot more between now and 2028. My name is Arain. I'm a Toronto real estate broker. Been doing this for 16 years, helping buyers and sellers all across the GTA. Just a quick ask. I'm trying to hit 10,000 subscribers on this channel. We're getting pretty close. So if you find this type of content useful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And if this situation applies to you directly, there's a link in the description below to book a discovery call with me. This one's generally worth an actual conversation, not just a video. So let's talk about why this specific corner of the market right now is where the real pain is sitting right now. I want to be clear about this up front. Resale houses in the city, generally speaking, are holding up pretty fine. So this isn't a video about doom and gloom and the whole market's broken by any means. It's specifically pre-construction and specifically a wave of closings where I think the stress is concentrated. Here's the timeline that's causing all of this. See, a lot of these units were actually bought in 2021 and 2022, right at the top of the market on a pre-construction premium, meaning the buyer was already paying more than the comparable resale units at the time, on the promise that the time that this unit was actually built, it'll be worth even more. As we all know, construction takes years to build. So these purchases are now landing on closing dates now between 2026, 27, and 2028, at exactly the moment where prices are down significantly from where they actually bought. And that gap matters than more people actually realize, because lenders don't finance based on what you agreed to pay. They finance based on what the appraisal unit comes in today. If that appraisal comes in below the actual purchase price, well, that bank isn't lending you the difference. It's coming from you. So for example, let's say you agreed to pay a certain price a few years back. It's coming time to close, and the unit's now appraising for meaningfully less, sometimes 20 and even 30% less than what you agreed to pay. Your financing? Well, it was based on the old number. Now, you either need to come up with the extra cash out of pocket to bridge that gap, or you don't close at all. And if your plan was always to rent it out rather than live in it, and that rental math isn't going to be that forgiving today than it was several years ago, unless you put down a lot more than the standard 20%. Current rents in a lot of the buildings aren't covering the carrying costs. I've actually seen situations where someone's cash flow negative was well over $1,000 a month every month just to hold on to that unit. So what are people actually doing about it? And honestly, it comes down to where you are in the process. If you can actually close on the unit, meaning you've got the cash or the equity to bridge that appraisal gap, you're choosing between three things: move into it yourself, rent it out and accept that you might be losing money every month for a while, or close on it purely so you can list it on the MLS once the building registers, because that is definitely a much easier and cleaner process than trying to assign it beforehand. If you're short and you're trying to sign the contract instead, sell your right to buy it before closing, that market has basically dried up. And then the reason is the HST rebate the government introduced. When a buyer can go straight to the developer and get a comparable unit when the HST is taken off, there is very little reason for them to buy your assigned unit, even at the discounted price. So that option, when it used to be a reasonable path, it's close to gone for the time being. And if neither of those work, you can't bridge the gap or you can't assign it, some people are choosing just not to close and let the developer decide what happens next. And honestly, those are two different mindsets that I see landing people here. One is genuine. The financing just isn't there and the appraisal has come in way too low. There's no path on closing no matter what. Well, the other one is more of a judgment call. Someone who could technically scrape up together the funds, but figures that they're taking a loss either way. So why not just walk away and see what the developer decides? It's different situations, but same outcome on paper, but worth knowing which one you're actually in before you decide anything. I want to be really clear here. I'm absolutely not a lawyer and this isn't legal advice by any means, but understand that walking away typically doesn't just mean losing your deposit. These are actual binding contracts that you signed. If the developer turns around and sells a unit for less than what you agreed to pay for, that shortfall just doesn't disappear. In most cases, well, they can actually pursue you for it. If you're in this position, well, that's a conversation you need to have a real estate lawyer, not a YouTube video. Now, on the other side of this, developers are sitting on units that didn't close, plus whatever they had left over to begin with, and their entire focus right now is clearing up that inventory. A meaningful part of that clearing never touches the MLS at all, or the sales data you'd see in a typical monthly report. Developers tend to sell a whole block of units all at once, discounted per square foot directly to an investment fund or a large private buyer. And it's very common for the deal to come with a confidentiality agreement altogether. So the price never becomes public and it doesn't set an expectation for the rest of the building. It's real and it's happening more than people actually realize. And it's part of why the market can actually look calmer on paper than it actually is underneath. There's a second source of opportunity here as well. Separate from the developer bulk deals, as stuck buyers actually walk through their own situation and actually close even at a loss costs, once that building actually registers, they can actually list it properly on the MLS like any other resale unit. That process does take time, but it does also mean a steady of trickle of newly closed units becoming genuine, well-priced resale inventory over the next couple of years, not just developer inventory. Now, listen, I don't want this entire video to be all doom and gloom because there's a real opportunity forming out there too, not just for everyone. Because developers, well, they need to clear their inventory, and because of that HST rebate, there are buildings right now where you can genuinely buy finished unit and living in it within weeks. A timeline that just doesn't exist in normal pre-construction, where you're typically looking at years between purchase and move-in. This is a pretty unusual window right now. And let me remind you, this is just not going to be there indefinitely. And it's not available on every building or every unit. The good units, well, they move fast. But for the right buyer, it's definitely worth looking. Just don't confuse that opportunity with new project launches coming in the back. Clearing existing inventory and starting new towers are two very different things right now. High-rise launches specifically are still far away. Developers are absolutely not thinking about breaking ground until what they've already built is sold. Where we are seeing a lot of movement right now is on the low-rise side outside of the downtown core. Those projects have been launching and they're selling at a more reasonable pace. They're just a different part of the market entirely. So that's the part of the market I genuinely want to keep an eye on over the next couple of years. Not because I think it sinks everything else, but because I think where the financial stress is concentrated right now. My name is Arain. Thanks for watching.